Inscryption is a game that I completely dismissed. I saw people talking about it. They were talking about how great it was, and I didn't really pay attention to it. But I decided to give it a shot. Now, I know I'm a bit behind. At this point, most people have played it. They've already formed their opinions, but it was pretty fresh to me recently. I just decided I didn't know what to play on stream, so I just popped it in, decided to play. And honestly, I was really surprised. I mean, I like card games. You know, I've done a review of like Slay the Spire, which has like, you know, roguelike card game, RPG sort of feel to it. I've played a lot of other games. I played Magic the Gathering in real life for many years. And so to me, it was like, oh, this, you know, this looks cool, but it never really like made me go like, ah, yes, this is for me. Mostly because like with roguelike games, I'm kind of burnt out a little bit. I'm kind of burnt out of like, you know, always starting over and all that kind of stuff. But it really took a new twist on this whole roguelike thing because I did a lot of things that I didn't expect. The first act of the game is so cool. You're in this cabin with this mysterious guy. You don't really know what's going on because the game makes you hit continue. It seems to be a death game. I felt the whole time there was really high stakes. Turns out there weren't. But I thought that there was. It really convinced me that there were stakes here, and there was a lot of mechanics, and unfortunately, I didn't get to interact with a lot of them. Obviously, you have like the tutorial loss where like the game starts sending grizzlies at you when you have like the shittiest deck possible, and so I lost there and made a death card that was shit because I only had like 3-4 cards to make something out of, you know, but I only died past that once, and then I beat it. And I thought that was normal, but everyone apparently told me that I missed out on a lot because most people die quite a few times before getting to the end, and that they make a lot of death cards and that those death cards are like really overpowered and bullshit. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't get to experience it. Oops. So I had to go back and play it some more to try to experience it more. But the idea of being in this cabin, it felt a little horror-esque, and that was really cool to me. The escape room like puzzles, the interaction with the, you know, guy telling the story, the guy on the other side of the table, the cards talking to you. There was a mystery. I didn't know what the mystery was, and it was really, really cool. You finally get past it, and then you get some of this ARG stuff that I think is really cool, this altered reality game with this Luke Cardy guy that I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was funny, but at the same time, it was a little cheesy, but that's okay. I think it added to the charm. But I do feel overall that the game does have some lacking things there. And while I know almost everyone's played this game at this point, I do feel responsible to say that now I'm going to get past the part that most people know about. Most people have seen Act 1 at least a little bit. But then we're going to get into Act 2 and Act 3, which is a little bit more of a, I guess, a spoiler. You don't see a lot about it in like media. So like, I'm just going to say that's a spoiler. If you want to skip to the end, go ahead. But I assume most people watching this have already played the game. So my biggest issue with the game is Act 2. It's not bad per se. It is actually still fun. I enjoyed the section, but it's a very jarring experience. Act 1 and Act 3 are very similar. Their theming is a little bit different, where Act 1 is more like a roguelike adventure. You know, you die, you start over. The goal is to get to the end. There's sort of more consequences, whereas Act 3 is more like you're playing a tabletop game with a GM and card games for combat. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. It's very similar to Act 1 while being different. Overall, very fun and very similar with the escape room vibes of moving around the area. But Act 2 is just, it almost feels like playing a different game that uses the same card game as its like base. It's like playing two different Magic the Gathering video games, where both of them are Magic the Gathering, but they're very different. I think, you know, it is fine. It is good. It's fun to play. And I can hear now well, I guess in my head hear me reading someone in the comments going, but Kevin, I actually thought it was perfect. I am incapable of criticizing things that I enjoy just because I enjoyed it. But it is very much a jarring experience. It feels like a different thing, you know, because you felt like you loaded into the game when you chose continue, and then that game was the 3D escape room card game experience. And now all of a sudden it's a Game Boy game, and you got this like Super Mario style map. And realistically, you know, it seems like a cool idea to create this completely different thing and have you go, whoa, why is it like this? What's this now? Like in your head, it sounds really cool. It sounds thematically interesting. But in my experience, it's a very jarring thing. If you just suddenly change the visual experience of something someone sees, it can be rather jarring. And while it may be something small, if the theming was really interesting and now they've got something completely different, it can pull them back from the experience. Now they're noticing this distinct difference and they go, oh man, this is all right. This is interesting. Guess I'll go with this. And I really felt that when I played this section of the game. But even worse, if you make a massive change in the middle of what they're doing or seeing, they're going to notice it and be really bothered. Because even if at its core it's identical, these changes are going to be noticeable. They're going to be paying attention to all the visual changes and not really paying attention to what's similar that they really enjoyed. For me, going through the game with this spooky environment, this 3D area with maybe not the best graphics in the world, was still really interesting. And now all of a sudden to be in this 8-bit world, you know, with these Game Boy graphics, it just wasn't the same. I just kind of looked at it and was like, oh, what's this? Okay. And I felt it. I felt the change. So whether it's a little change or a big one, you're going to notice it and it's going to detract from the experience. Now, I know some people probably really like this, but pretty much every person I talked to agreed that the middle section is the weakest and the least interesting. And I really experienced that. And when that section ended and I was back in the third, you know, the 3D world of the third act, I was really into it again. I was really excited and I really enjoyed it. And the game finished out really well with an amazing climactic ending, making me want more. The game does have some mods now though, which one that just makes Act 1 continuous. I think that's pretty cool. Hoping that they do more stuff like that for maybe like some alternate Act 3 style stuff. I don't know, but it is a pretty cool concept. Now, all that criticism aside, does that mean it's bad? No. Act 2, even including, was still good. I enjoyed it. I had fun. And I don't think there was anything like wrong from like a total analysis. It's just that's a real criticism. It's definitely there. It was a weakness. And I hope they learned their lesson from that probably wasn't the right way to go about it. I do think it would have been cool if we got more of the other two characters, Grimora and I don't know, Bushman, whatever his name was, Magnifico, the Great Felizi, whatever his name is. I think that like seeing their theming and the different way that they play, I think it'd be cool if it was 4 acts and each one you played those people's escape room game, you know, with their own board game that was unique. I think that would have been really, really cool. We got a taste of that in the ending. It was sad that that wasn't fully fleshed out. And instead we got, you know, Act 2, which is So would I recommend it? Absolutely. I think it's probably one of the best games I've played in a while. I haven't been that excited to play where I was like, oh, I wish I was streaming right now so I could play it. I haven't been like that in a long time. So if you haven't played it and you want to play it, I would recommend it. If you were thinking that you might not like it, you're wrong. It's a great game. Unless you strictly hate card games, you will have a good time with Inscryption. So I would highly recommend you take the time to check it out. And let me know what you think. Tell me what you think about Act 2, about the jarring changes. You know, let me know why I'm right, or let everyone else know why you're wrong. It'll be really interesting to hear what you have to say. But either way, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next shitpost. Deuces.